You told me all about Loot 8 last time.
Yeah.
I think it's brilliant because I believe it's solving problems that I haven't really seen in other areas. But before we get to that,
Yep.
tell us about how you discovered NFTs, how you got involved, and what was the kind of light bulb moment that made you kind of go, all right, now I'm going to go down this direction?
Yeah, so I belong to a group called METAL, which stands for Media Entertainment Technology Artist Leaders, run by a good friend of mine, Ken Rakowski, who's been, one of the thought leaders in technology for many years, almost 25 years now, I guess. So I got heavily into that group, and that group was made up of pretty much a lot of the OGs and the major players of the crypto space, Brock Pierce, and William Quigley, who started Wax and Tether, and Michael Turpin, who's considered sort of the grandfather of Bitcoin. All those guys were part of that group, and they came in. I'll never forget. They came in and they were telling us one day, it was an organization where every Saturday we get together. It was like a TED talk and stuff. So Brock and Michael came in, did a whole talk on NFTs, and not on NFTs, on crypto. It was funny because they were telling us, "Hey, buy a bunch of this stuff. It's like $7." Right now, I wish I would have bought. I wish I would have bought a lot of that. I had a friend that did, and that's a funny story.
Don't we all?
Yeah, I mean, I got a friend that did it. That was there that day, bought $50,000 worth, sat on it, and next thing he opened his wallet up, and he had 90 million bucks in his wallet. It was crazy. But anyway, so I got heavily into this. Sort of in that tech space, since I've been in the tech, and I was following, crypto punks and all that. I didn't really quite get it. And then one day, it started to get more, and everybody was calling me up and going, "Hey man, you got all those collectibles from Floyd and Supertramp and all that stuff. You should get into NFTs." So I ended up meeting with some people on that. And then I realized I was a tech guy, and I said, "Hey, I need to get into this space." So we decided, I called a friend of mine a blockchain engineer and stuff, and kind of went after it. And we got lucky. I kind of worked with some guys, and we got our first NFT out there that we ended up selling for $1.1 million, which was incredible.
Wow.
That was an amazing day for sure. And that got me really into it. And then we had another sale. We did about 670,000 on another project. But anyway, that got me heavily into the business. And since then, that's kind of what I believe in. For me, NFTs truly represent freedom for the people. Once people really understand what an NFT is and how it works and what it's all about, they'll start to realize we go beyond the ape. It's not just a JPEG.
I love it.
They don't understand the business models you can build on top of it, how you can build rights, roles, and permissions, and pass those permissions on to people and build. And you got this little robot network over here handling all the transactions for you. So it's really exciting. And, for me, I'm looking at NFTs, for access control and gating and building communities. So heavily into this now. I believe it's the most important technology to come along for humanity in a long time. And I think it's all around decentralization is really important. So anyway, there you go.
I love it. I mean, I'm a big Bitcoin fan, and I also believe that is digital freedom. And, when we were on that panel last year, I think you were telling some really awesome stories about how NFTs are about storytelling. Yeah. And they're about digital freedom. And you told that amazing story about the young girl. Maybe you can tell.
Oh yeah, that's it's funny. I tell this story all the time because I felt it was so profound. I can't think of one podcast or one Twitter Spaces that I don't tell this story, because it really does explain the power of what NFTs are. So I go to this meetup. I go to a bunch of meetups here along in Los Angeles, and it was an NFT meetup. And this girl, she was 19 years old. She gets up and she says, "I'm a photographer and I love photography, and all I want to do is do photography all day long." And so I got into NFTs 9 months ago, and I'm so excited because now I pay my rent, I pay my car payments, I live 100% off my NFTs. And I thought, wow, that's cool. And then she said, and on top of that, I carved a little piece of my smart contract off for my community center. And so far, they've gotten 2.5 ETH. And at that time, that was around $10,000. So I try to explain to people how many 19-year-old girls that nobody knows that are getting into their art and actually living off of their art and what they want to do, and actually handing $10,000 to their community center. So this really represents the whole concept of freedom. For me, this is a freedom for the people, because it allows for a total direct-to-consumer business model that we've never had before, wallet to wallet. And it is this whole idea of decentralization, which is really important to me because, we're looking right now where they're trying to centralize everything, which is a horrible idea, especially with the banking systems, the Western central banks, the Fed, they're looking at putting us on this CBDC coin, which I'm going to tell everybody out there, do not do that. That is,
we can have a completely separate new podcast conversation all about that. Let's not go there today.
No, we're not going to go there. But anyway, so that's that story. So anyway, it is the people's movement. And I think once people start to realize that everything's going to be NFT'd, and that NFTs, like we said, is a great storytelling device, because NFTs are all about story, what creates the value. And now we can empower the consumers or our fans or that to also build businesses on tops of things that I can create. And then we can maintain the royalties and all of that. So it's a very powerful thing. And I think everything from a hair salon to a yoga studio to bars are all going to be using NFTs in the future.
Absolutely.